I was actually working as a network engineer. It required knowledge of detail and being able to sort of look at data and go, okay, that means that means that, and putting it all together and saying, okay, well, therefore, sort of stuff. And a lot of that stuff didn't work very well when I first started back because it's multitasking. And that's one of the things you tend to lose, or I did anyway. The company that I was working for that was contracted out to Air Services got sold while I was sick in hospital. And I was particularly lucky that the boss that I'd had was moved across to the new company and he wanted me back. And he was bloody good the whole time I was in hospital. He was in and out all the time and he brought me computer equipment and stuff like that so that I had my connections with the people again and connected me into work and got things like that working. So I had access to my email and I could do all of that sort of stuff, which was a great way to get back into the rhythm of working, even though I wasn't really working. But we started off with me working from home for about 6 months, just on a part-time from home, dialed in, because the work I do, you can do that. From there we progressed to actually going into the office, and I started off going into the office 1 day a week, and over time we slowly increased that, so I did more and more time in the office. So overall it took about a year, but from the time I actually officially started working again to the time I was working full-time in the office.
You know, it was financially hard. My wife was off work on maternity leave. I wasn't working because of the stroke. So yeah, there was several factors to get back to work, which I did. I just recently changed jobs. I was doing horticulture for 15 years, but doing a physical job in a body that's not really meant for physical work anymore. So just recently I've changed and I now work for the Brain Injury Association in New South Wales. So I used a brain injury to get me a job in brain injury.
So before I had my stroke, I was working as a professional town planner. So quite high level strategic thinking, problem solving in a busy open plan office. So I didn't work for 6 months after my stroke while I was undergoing rehabilitation. I was really fortunate that I had a really good team in rehab who assisted my return to work and gave me guided, staged return to work plans and an employer that was supportive of working with that return to work plan. Before my stroke, because I have young children, I was working 3 days a week. So to get from returning to work 2 hours to working 3 full days took me 12 months to build up. It was like running an uphill marathon. It was really, really, really hard.
My career was very important to me. I was actually, I'd acted in management positions and my career was headed into management. After my stroke, getting back to work was wonderful, and my aspiration for it to sort of be into the management realms ceased to be important.
We went merrily along our way. I went back to work and I was able to work for almost a year, and then I was unable to continue. So we sold our business and I got into a retirement type mode. I was a banker for over 40 years and it hurts not being able to go to work now, but I understand that I can't. I think it took me about 18 months to actually settle down without being able to go to work, and I still do wish that I could go to work. I still would like to be active in what I do. I find that though I get envious of people who are able to get there and accept a challenge, but I accept now that I probably wouldn't be able to cope very well with the challenges that would come. But it's good, there's more family time now than what I had before when I was working, and that's a good thing.
Well, no, I never went back to work. The Commonwealth Bank Ill Health retired me, and at the time that was very, very hard to accept because I'd been in the bank for 38 years, I enjoyed my job, and I did think along the journey over 18 months that I could return to what I used to call my normal me, as a successful bank manager, running a great team. But no, I look back now and I probably couldn't have gone back to work, so they probably made the right decision then and there. Yeah, so I never went back to work. I enjoyed going to work all the time. It was very, very hard to accept that that was no longer part of my life anymore. Yes, it took me a long time to start resetting goals and moving forward, to be honest. It took me a long time.
If I tried to go back to my work, where you've got to be 100% pretty much all day, I would have found it pretty difficult. And as Karen used to say, if you go back, you'll probably find that you won't have the same reputation you had when you were working. And so instead of going out on a high like you were before, you're going to go out on a low. So that was another good reason not to try and go back into certainly the same type of employment.
Prior to my stroke, as a health provider, I love my job, and I've always loved that holistic approach to healthcare that OT did. I think my role, I guess now with that insight as a patient and a therapist, that is definitely, I feel like I can make more of a difference now than I did before. It's not quantity, it's quality, and so for me, I'd rather do one workshop or presentation a week and do it really well than do it every single day and just end up in a heap of tiredness.
Before I started back at work, we had a meeting with my rehab provider out at the site, and we walked the site to see what I was capable of doing and what I wasn't capable of doing. Now, 3 months to the day after my stroke, I returned to work part-time, having the rehab provider provide a program of returning to work so that it didn't fail. You know, it was very helpful. Well, I've been back at work for almost 2.5 years, or 2 years and 4 months now. I haven't been out of work at all, but I've had several different employers. And now I'm working